Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda. In today's video we're going to be doing a Sims 4 speed build, but for this one we're going to be using a bit of CC, which I will talk about a bit further along in the video because we don't actually use any CC on the exterior. Now for this build I'm building in Brindleton Bay, which is the world that comes with the Sims 4 Pets or Cats and Dogs expansion pack, and we're building on the Dutchins Creek lot. I don't feel as though I've built on this lot before, and it was a little bit awkward to record because the camera kept jumping due to the bridge being in the background, but it was a cute little lot for the autumn home that I had in mind. So I just wanted to build a little autumn tiny home, and the inspiration behind this build was some autumn CC that I come across. So I wanted to make sure that I could get the exterior of the build looking quite autumnal, because when we go inside we're going to be using some CC that are from autumn packs. Now for the exterior, as you can see, it is only a tiny home. I think it's a tier 2. Yeah, it's a tier 2 tiny home, and I believe you get 100, or is it 64 tiles? I think it's 64. I can't quite remember, but as you can see it's a fairly small home, and I did only build this imagining that one sim lived here, but potentially there is a space for a couple. I wanted to do quite a modern effect, but I wanted there to be this mix of wood exteriors. Kind of wanted to maybe imagine that these darker wooden panels are the maybe ones that have been modernized compared to the older siding that's on the larger part of the build. We're then going to use a lot of windows that are from the seasons pack, as I felt as though these matched the vibe, and I wanted to try and use quite a bit of exterior from packs like cottage living, cats and dogs, and seasons, as I feel as though these give off quite a nice cottage country effect, which I kind of wanted that vibe to come through. Now because it is only a fairly small build, I wanted to go in, get my floor plan done so I could work out where I placed all my windows. This is a lot of the time how I build, so I want the windows and the exterior to look really nice. I want it to have that curb appeal, but I do want it to be able to flow through on the inside of the property. So I kind of like to jump in, get my floor plan done so I can finish off my windows and then start fixing up the rest of the exterior of the build. Now I wanted this to have a small fenced off front garden and then the fenced off back garden, but because we're working on quite a large lot, there is space for you to maybe add some kind of like farmland, or if you've got the horse pack you could add in some things like that. I don't actually have the horse ranch pack. It's one that I've got on my list to download, but I'm one of these people, I'm a little bit more hesitant to buy packs until I know I'm definitely going to use them. Before getting my new PC, predominantly most of my game was filled with CC. I then got a new computer and I thought it was time to just get rid of all the CC I had. I didn't transfer anything over. I played vanilla for the past, I'd say nearly a year actually. It's flown by, but I'm slowly now getting back into wanting to add CC into my game. So this is partly why I don't always reach for packs if I don't feel as though I'm going to get much use out of them, because I predominantly am a builder, so I don't really need the gameplay aspects that a lot of the packs focus on. Now for example for Rent, I bought that as soon as it come out because I loved the idea of building residential lots. But anyway, as you can see, this build, the exterior, we're going in, we're getting some landscaping, so a lot of that exterior has come together now. We're building in the fall season, so I wanted to make sure that all of the plants and everything matched. And then there was the first piece of CC I used. I placed down the autumn wreath on the front door. Then I wanted over to the side to create this little bin shed thing, so I used this item. I think it comes in like I think it comes under the little window shelf, or it's like exterior accessories or something, to kind of make it look as though it's a little place to purposely place your bins. But then we have moved on to the interior, and I wanted everything to look quite neutral, lots of creams and wood tones, so that the content that I was using kind of really pops. Now let's talk CC. So I've downloaded 4 packs from JoyIsFox, I believe the creator's name is. I will double check that. Okay, so I was completely wrong. The creator's name is JoyIsFox, and she has a few different autumn packs up on curseforge, which I was browsing through, and I thought, I'm really wanting some more autumn style items, and I love everything that I downloaded. My plan for getting back into using CC was to download 4 or 5 packs or items, however, a lot. I love going for packs more than individual CC items. And my idea was to download a couple of packs, build using only those packs, and then see if they are things that I know I'm going to regularly use, just so I don't end up with this humongous CC folder full of items that I don't actually reach for very often, because that's exactly what happened previous. So I downloaded her Forever Autumn, and there was 4 different parts. So I downloaded all 4. There might actually be more available, but they were the 4 that I downloaded, and oh my god, I absolutely loved every single item in all of them. As you can see, we're using a lot of the kitchen items here. I loved these counters. Like, this green is beautiful. I loved the style of them. There's so many beautiful clutter objects in here, and then it just gives off a very modern feel to them. I loved the idea of things like there's trays and clutter items you can add to the trays. There's ones where the clutter items are already on the trays. I feel this is a very modern aesthetic, and not there are a lot of these items, although it's an autumn pack, you could definitely use them for non-autumn builds if you're not keeping to a seasonal build. But I tried to use absolutely everything that I downloaded as best as I could. I think I did actually manage to use everything, and I feel as though a lot of it matched up beautifully with items that are already in the game as well. So I will leave in the description box below the creators details. As I mentioned, I downloaded this from curseforge, so it's really simple to download if you are looking for autumn CC. Now, something I love about this pack is the curtains come with separate poles. Now, I know we have that in The Sims and a few packs now, but I feel as though all the curtains in The Sims should have that, so it just looks more realistic. And I love that CC creators think of these things. Playing vanilla for the past year has made me realize that The Sims need to put more effort in to make things look more realistic, especially as a builder. I want all the homes that I build to look realistic and lived in, and I love that you can really get that vibe with CC. Something else I absolutely love that a lot of content creators, a lot of CC creators do, is the sofa. We have the cushioning separate from the frame, so you can choose what color wood you want with what color cushioning you want. I find it so frustrating when I'm building in The Sims and I want the cushions in navy blue, but that comes with a black frame, and I don't want the black frame. I love that with a lot of CC you can mix and match, and you can tweak things a lot more. So I love that they think of that when they're creating CC. So I loved this sofa. I thought it looked super comfy to sit on, but I loved that I could pick out the wood tone and the cushioning separately. And then talking of cushioning, I love the separate little cushions that are in these packs. They just all flow beautifully together. Now, there is a lot of clutter, so I picked out this large cabinet and filled it with as much as I could. I loved the little tic-tac-toe board. Now, this isn't playable, it's just a clutter object, but I thought it looked super cute set up there. And then because this was quite a large cabinet and I didn't want to fill it with just CC, I thought I could add in some items that are from the game as well. So you will see that dotted about, and I love that there are quite a few items that work with this pack where it doesn't look too much like, oh my god, that massively stands out as a Sims 4 item compared to the other items that are CC. I really hope that makes sense. These glasses that I added in, I love that they come in 2 options. So I use them in the kitchen where the glasses are upside down. So for example, you know, when you've washed up and you're drying them, and they're next to the sink upside down, but then I've got a few in the cabinet that have been put away and they've been put the right way up. I love those little touches, so I had to add them in. And then I loved that on this cabinet there was lots of slots, both the CC items and the in-game items all slotted in perfectly. Now, I wanted to use the dining table, but it just didn't fit in the space inside, so I do use that outside. but I decided to still use the chairs that come with this CC inside. And I loved this little shelving unit as well. I loved the wall shelf, and you have it in two options where it's solid wood and then this wicker effect. I feel as though this is very modern and it just gives off such a beautiful aesthetic. I do feel as though some of the in-game items, they lack a lot of the textures as well, and especially if you've got older packs like the base game or the first few packs that come out, I feel as though a lot of the wood tones don't look as nice as a lot of the newer packs. So when you're reaching for CC, I feel as though that's already there, and the textures and everything just look beautiful. I loved the wood texture that was on this shelving unit. There are some pictures, so I thought they were the same, but they're not. One of the frames is leaning, which is really cool. So I loved how it's not flat against the wall, and then you have the option of having one flat against the wall as well. I did also want to use these kitchen counters in the wood top as well. So the ones I used in the kitchen have the marble top, but then I loved these wood effect ones. I feel as though you could use these in different areas of the house just to look like cabinets. So I placed them down in the hallway, and again, I'm loving this green. It's just such a beautiful colour against that wooden surface. This little ladder shelf placed nicely on top as well. There is a larger one and a smaller one. I'm going to use the larger one in the garden. I did decide as well, because I wanted this house to be quite playable to live in, to put a little computer area here in the hallway as well, because it's quite a large hallway for a tiny home. So I thought, let's make use of the space and make it like a little office area. Maybe she works from home or does some work from home, or he, if you're not playing with a female sim. So I wanted to create this little space to look set up for that. And then what I loved about this pack, although it's an autumn themed pack, it's not out there with pumpkins and leaves and kind of like all that clutter that screams autumn. This is a little bit more toned down, but the colours in this set are very me. I love a lot of the beiges, the neutrals. I think they're brilliant. Something else that I discovered in this CC pack were these individual tile splashbacks. Now these were a little tricky to use because, for example, you can't have them going across a window. They would only go on a wall. They would clip into the window otherwise. But I thought it was a great idea to create your own tile effects or splashbacks. So I just added them on two of the walls in this little bathroom, and they just added that splash of colour. And it's a fun way to add a little bit of uniqueness to the tiles that you've already got in game. There was some wallpapers, I believe, that I didn't use that come with one of the packs. I'm not sure if it was the first four, because like I said, there was two other packs I believe, and I can't remember if I used items. I don't think I did, but there was some wallpaper options, but we don't use them in the build. I had to use these curtains in every room that I could fit them in, because I just loved how realistic they looked, where you can add in that additional pole in the center. Now I didn't have a bed downloaded that was CC, but I felt as though this one from in-game worked nicely. It's got a bit of an autumn effect thanks to the duvet cover, so it worked really well. But some of the clutter objects here were beautiful. The basket with the throw laying in it, it just looks so luxurious. I did also end up sizing down one of the cushions and popping that in the basket as well. There was a little alarm clock, so I popped that on the side. I weren't sure what dresser to go for, because it was quite a tight fitting room, so I did actually off camera have quite a bit of playing around here to find one that suited the style but then fitted in the room as well. I have play tested this, and for a tiny home, it's not too tiny, but it does all, your Sims are able to use everything as you would need. So if you do want to download this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. Of course, you would need to make sure that you have the CC packs downloaded, otherwise you're going to have quite a few objects missing. But I loved these perfume bottles. I decided to add one in all three different colors, sorry, not all the colors, three different colors, so they kind of just look like a little collection. This Christmas tree board, although it kind of looks like a serving board or a chopping board you would have in your kitchen, I quite liked how it looked placed down in the bedroom as well, so I placed that down there. And then we're finishing off this room with a rug. I didn't feel as though I went for like traditional fall colors in this build, so we haven't got much orange, but we've got a lot of green and browns, which I feel as though is quite a modern autumn look. And I really wanted this whole build to have quite a modern aesthetic to it, because I feel as though that's what the CC creator had in mind when they was creating a lot of this CC, because especially the clutter items, they look very modern. You see all these kind of things in the shops on a regular. Now moving on to the garden, I wanted to make sure I used that table, and I loved that you had this separate lace tablecloth that flows across it. And again, you can mix and match, have it in whichever colour you want. It's not locked to the table, so you don't have to have it if you don't want to, which I think is a great option. And I kind of just set up this ladder shelf with lots of plants and bits and bobs, and then I wanted to make the table look a bit autumnal, so we did pop down the little pumpkin display there as well, and I popped down the little mug as well, as it does look a nice little spot to sit and drink your pumpkin spice latte. Now for the rest of the garden, I pretty much use in-game items. I wanted to make sure there was a few little chairs, a little seating area basically to sit in. I added in some lighting just to finish it off. But yeah, that brings us towards the end of the build. So I do hope you all enjoyed watching. I plan on doing more CC builds, so let me know any CC creators you recommend. Drop them in the comments below. If you did enjoy today's video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, and hit that subscription button if you haven't already. I shall leave you with screenshots. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Bye bye.